morning.
Good day. And a good day in the hood.
You said good day in the hood.
In the hood.
Not in the hood.
Listen, when I sat on the porch, when I sat on the porch back in the days, I was in the hood.
Well, I was in the hood
like that
too. I
movie
didn't
Crooklyn.
think I was in the hood, but I was definitely in the hood.
Crooklyn is my favorite.
It's my favorite movie, Crooklyn. Yes,
that's my favorite movie. When I tell you, my husband had never seen it, and I thought it was just a northern thing because they grew up just like we was growing up. You know what I mean? Go to the store for your parents, and you know you might get in a fight coming back. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Oh yeah, I like that show. I like that movie.
Yeah.
And just how you know she revolved. You know what I mean? From this girl, then you know, and then she became like the mother figure after the mom passed away. And like honestly, you know, we knew people like that whose parents died when they were, you know, the mom died when we were kids. And
but I also know what it's like being the only girl. And so it's just how things just naturally progress, and your position of birth makes all the difference in the world, and you know,
got that right,
dynamic and everything. So yeah, it was very
look, Keisha and Celeste, they are only children.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I do have I had siblings. I'm the only child of my parents, my mom and dad, but I do have an older sister.
Okay.
But, you know, we didn't grow up So, but yeah.
I was the youngest. And because I was the youngest, people thought that I got preferential treatment, but I did not.
You don't think so?
I think of every youngest child swears they didn't
the baby. The parents are too tired. By the time the baby comes,
my parents was too tired by the time my brothers and sisters rolled through, because then I was, you know, I got to creep through and do a little bit more things I wanted to do, you know. But I think also by being exhausted from the other kids, they kind of clamp down on your ass, because they be like, well, you better not go and do what so-and-so did. I'm only 14. I don't even think about doing the stuff that they did, but you know
what? That's what I told Jaden. I said, Jaden, you got away with a lot of stuff. We were so focused on your brother. You just was easing up on my mouth. Let me spank you now.
Like Nico, I mean, I think about it now, it's too funny, but I think about like Johnson, you could say we could not be out past the street, like that was not happening at all. So you know, you live in urban city, you're not gonna be out. But you always looked outside and you saw somebody walking by, you'd be like,
wishing you was them.
Open the window up. Going outside.
You know, Billy to this day still call me, oh, Chance, you don't remember that because you was a porch kid.
Yeah.
The porch, right?
Imagine growing up in life as an only child and never having nobody to blame stuff on. If the plate was in the kitchen, it was me. I started blaming stuff on my father. My mother would say, who left that fork in it? Daddy.
Isn't that something? Like my older sister, I always think about, like, you know, bless her heart. She had to do so much though. She really did. Like the clothes had to be washed, the food had to be, you know, it was so on and so on. But me and my middle sister, we wasn't totally eliminated from the cooking stuff. That's why I don't like cooking today. But my older sister had to watch us. And my older sister, she was just, you know, Carmen, she was just so timid. And my brother and sister, it was not me. My brothers and sisters, they could not wait till the door shut, because they would just jump on her and be like, we taking over and all kinds of stuff.
That's terrible.
My sister used to say, I'm gonna call the police on y'all, right? Oh my God. Like,
it's so mean.
I know, like she was so timid, and I used to say, don't get upset. I said, let's go see and look at TV together. While they was reaping havoc. But when Nate Joy came home, they probably would wish the police was called, because they would get it. So, you know, that was a different age and time. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we was still held responsible by our parents. You know what I mean? Yeah. We still was. But today, it seems like it's a little different, don't it?
A lot different.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, and I say that because a lot of things I see happen, even with going into like doctor's offices when you see a mom and daughter there, even the conversation is different. You know what I mean? The conversation is more like that person is their friend instead of their parent. You see what I'm saying? And I live right outside of Philadelphia. In Philadelphia, you know, you see crimes and things with you. Crimes with younger kids. Like I get tongue tied because I'm still like at all seeing a 13-year-old toting a gun. You know what I mean? And you know, doing crimes and things like that. And it's not during the daytime, it's in the wee hours of the night. You know what I mean? Or I look on social media and you see the parent cursing out the teacher because of they took the child's phone and she want the phone back because she said she paid for the phone. But the child shouldn't have had the phone in school in the first place. You know what I mean? So question for y'all today. See, I get a brain ball. The question for y'all today is, are parents to blame?
Are they
Don't think too hard.
Are they to blame?
Are they to blame? I think partly. I feel like, you know, if you want to take the credit for the good, then you got to take the credit for the bad. And so, you know, I love about my own children that I see the best parts of me in them many times. And then I see some of my not so good parts in them sometimes. But all I know is even when they were young and even now, I'm constantly praying for them. So even when people were trying to heap, you know, kudos onto me for doing such a great job, I let them know that wasn't me. That was, from my point of view, that was the Lord, because I had to pray and give them back and just pray that everything worked out because I could not have designed them better. So it wasn't me that did that. And so when I see these children that are out here and what's going on with them, kids being born to kids, we've always had teenage and young mothers and things of that nature, but you can't be smoking weed with your kids and stuff like that. You know, my kids, I don't even want to drink around my kids, you know, and they're like adults. They're in their 20s and 30s, right? Late 20s and 30s. And so I'm still somewhat uncomfortable doing that with them because I feel like there's a hierarchy here, right? And when that gets disrupted, I think it throws off the balance of the family. I listen to my children. My mother listened to me. But Kimmy, you knew my grandmother. She was a very black and white person. There were no shades of gray with her. So my mother struggled with that type of mother coming up. And my mom's a baby boomer, you know, I'm Gen X. And so she was very open because she had that severe parent. She was the opposite. She was very liberal. She was very understanding. It was an open door policy, but she told us from the get-go what she was not going to accept, what she was not doing. And so I kind of carried that. But again, if you want to take credit for the good, then you have to also take credit for the bad.
Keisha?
I think that parents could be to blame, but it depends on the situation. Parents, if they're not raising their children and doing things correctly, like Chauncey said, certain things that I wouldn't do for my children, drinking and smoking and you know, you want to have a stable and home and set examples. So when you're not doing that, of course, if they can't see that, then you're the blame. However, if you're doing that and if something's happening, maybe it's an issue that the child is just
Disposition.
There you go. Of having that character trait, and then of something that's wrong, and you're not to blame for that. However, if you don't try to help it or do something, then the blame goes back on you. So it just depends on what it is and the situation. Short answer.
Celeste?
Well, I ain't taking blame for none of that. And well, my children are at a different stage, so they're all adults, right? And so there's oftentimes we have conversations and they'll point out, Ma, you did this. I said, you know what? You do better. Since you know better and you're evolving and you're gently doing this and gently doing that. And I'm not to blame for it. No, seriously, because I did the best I could and I'm doing things different from my mom. So when they were little, yes, I would take blame on some things because I had a kind of a handle on what was going on to an extent, right? Lots of praying, all that good stuff, no sleeping, watching everything. But now that they're adults, you know, they were raised a certain way to be compassionate, to be loving, to be spiritual, and all that stuff. And if they stray from that now, I'm not.
And I totally agree with you on that.
I'm not.
Yeah.
And they're better people than, I mean, we all did really well. We were not lucky, we were blessed enough. So now when they're doing these wonderful things, I'm going, wow, I can't even really take credit for that because they found their own way and they're, you know, evolving.
Because my pride, it doesn't come back. My pride is that I'm just proud of what they're doing. I don't say, oh, they're doing that because I raised them to do that.
Exactly.
You know, that thing. Even if I did, when I'm beaming with pride, I don't think of myself. I just think, oh my God, they are such a wonderful human being. Look at the care that they're giving. Look at what they're doing and how they're doing it. And in both of their jobs and their careers, again, they're doing the same thing. They're caring for people, taking care of them. And that just makes me beam with pride. But it's not a selfish thing. I don't think that anything. I just say, thank God that, you know.
I say, thank God they got their own place to live. Thank God.
Well, I'll say this much. I do take credit for the good things they do. Because goddamn it, let me tell you, when I was raising them, I had to go through the fudge, the thick, the thin, everything else. And when I took things away from you, and when and I was there to support you, I helped create you. And I know that I was created by God, and God helped lead me to help lead them. And I always say that because, you know, I take the credit for the bad things they do too. And maybe that's not always great, but I do, because we all fall short somewhere with our kids.
Yeah.
We do. So that's why I say I take both credit. I'm taking the credit when you walk across that stage, because guess what? It was my checkbook that got you there. You know what I mean? You know, really, you think about it.
Yeah.
You know, and if I think that you got ways that need to be corrected, I look back and I try to self-identify.
Yes.
Where did I give them the bandwidth to think that, you know what I mean? And even though they have their own personalities, they do, you know what I mean? And some things, like you said, Keisha, you got to work with them. You got to help them on their way when they hit, because they're individuals. They're not you.
Right.
They was guided by us though. So, you know, in reality, we are all, and I know every last one of y'all and your children and so on and so on. Everybody sitting here have been excellent moms, you know what I mean, have done excellent jobs. But there's also people out here living that they blame lack of resources and so on and so on, why their kids is not turning out to be what they wanted them to be. You see what I'm saying?
Like you said, there are areas that when we're willing to admit it, we'll be like, you know what, that I could have done a better job at
absolutely.
this and this, or, you know, but I think at the same time, like you said, giving them enough credit to say that they have their own personalities. And some of this has nothing to do with how they were raised. But I think your question is maybe more so geared towards adolescent and, you know, that age group, because they're the ones that are struggling right now. But then when you think about, you know, some of
I don't know, with some young adults struggling.
I know that, but those adolescents become those adults, right?
And let me give you a perfect example. This may not be something that's a bad thing, but to society, it looks like it's a bad thing. Young adults now do not have the wherewithal like we had for working for somebody. They will not stay at a freaking job if they don't like it. They
That's true.
they eye in a second, be like, I'm done with it. So what do the employers say? Am I lying? What do employers say? I don't know what kind of kids they raising today. You know what I mean? But you think about it, you could stay in a job until it burn you out and damn near put you in the hospital, got you on meds and all kinds of stuff. They just not doing it.
About it. That's the reason. That's the reason, because they saw their parents and or grandparents. Because remember, you know, a lot of our kids' age groups were raised by their grandparents because their parents got stuck up in that crack epidemic, right?
True.
So when you think about how they saw people being burned out, they have decided early on, like you said, it's not necessarily a good or bad thing, but they decided early on, I'm not doing that. Or when they see that these companies don't have the loyalty that they used to have, you could work at a job for 40 years and, you know, get your PIN and get your pension and all. They don't
Your
have that
watch.
anymore.
Have that.
Because one company's taking over another company, and then they're breaking apart and they're laying off, and so they don't see it in the same way. But what I will give them is that they are more willing to work for themselves, right?
That's the point that I'm making, and that's
Yeah.
not a bad thing. I
That's
mean,
not
maybe you
bad.
got to stumble and fall, but guess
Good.
what?
But they're willing to. But the thing is, what they haven't learned is that, again, I think I used the word before about a hierarchy, right? So aren't you supposed to, what we thought, work for a certain amount of time, build up, and then you get, these kids is going on these extravagant trips at 12.
They go right
living
here.
their life.
They go here. Yeah.
So then back to what
Yeah.
Kenny said, that's our fault because we're giving them so much so
Mhm.
soon that they feel like that is the expectation, right? These kids are going on these proms, and the way that they're sending them off and the money that they spend, it is nothing short of a wedding. And so
I
you're just,
remember.
so then
Mhm.
what comes after that? What's the expectation? The expectation is you got to keep building after that. It's got to get greater than what it was before. And I just don't think that's realistic. And
I think we're to blame if we don't give them, just like you said, a work ethic.
Yeah.
Like everything is given and handed to you, or you expect this, but you don't work up to just work for the things that you get. And sometimes you have to start from the bottom, and it's okay.
yeah,
And if we don't do that, yeah,
they make it and they spend it.
Mhm. They live in their life.
I
They
work
live in
for a month and then I'm going to go on this trip. You know what I mean? So that's how they do it, because I can't even begin to imagine. Like I said, these kids are taking these trips younger, and you know, I think it's important that you buy a passport for your kid and you introduce them to some things, okay? But these extravagant trips, like, they're like, well, what's next?
Exactly. Like,
What do we? What? But then we'll think about the kids who don't. Think about the kids who don't have steps leading up to their front door and got to climb in through the window, or their mom or dad is sitting in there and, you know, they're, you know, doing some sort of drugs and they all come in and they do it together, or they think that is the norm. Yeah. When do we wake up to say, okay, I need to let my kid know that there's better. I may not be able to do better, but there is better. But you got to have that conversation with them. You have to be honest with them. My kids knew, when you go to school, I got 5 on it.
you got what?
I got 5 on it a year.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm giving. Anything, if your tuition is outside that 5, you better find a way to go.
Mhm.
But I got 5 on it.
Well,
Now,
while y'all talking, I was thinking about my daughter. She must have been about 19. About 19, because she stayed with me till 21, right? So by 19, she asked me for something, and I said no. And she looked, and she said, huh? I said no. She said, you have never said no. I said, that's not the bullshit. I told you no. She says, you've never. You said, not now. You said, wait till Christmas. You said, get it on your birthday, or give me 2 weeks, but you've never said no. I told y'all in the last episode that we did a couple of weeks ago, I say no to everything now. No. Because I was creating this person who wasn't going to be able to deal with it in the world if she heard. I mean, luckily she's a good kid, and maybe but some kids can't even handle no.
right.
No,
That's
You are
true.
so
That's true.
right.
I'm gonna have to rob you. What? You what? Well, no.
That will definitely have to be another episode, because being able to handle the reality of the world, which is the no's of the world, is hard for a lot of people. And like you said, I was the same way with my kids. Even though I figured that I was so structured with them, but I still made a way around the no. You know what I mean? And that right now, I could see that has made a big difference in their lives. And now you're trying to deprogram that stuff because when they hear no from just society now, they get a take back. You know what I mean?
They do, or they find a way around it that's not necessarily good. When I used to tell my son no, he'd go to his grandfather. And I had to call his grandfather one time. I said, I don't care if it's a pencil. If I say he can't have it, then it's no. But it's not a problem. I'll just get. Sometimes the no was because I didn't want him to have it, not that I couldn't give it to him.
Right.
Exactly.
There's a difference. Sometimes it's a lesson. But what he learned very early on when I started telling him no at 5, oh, that's okay, Mom. I'll just ask my papa.
Okay, yeah.
He had a workaround.
No, I'm guilty. My grandson, all he got to do is call and go, hey, grandma. I go, hey, babe, what's going on? Nothing. I said, what's going on? What you need? Oh, I wasn't going to call you and ask you for the new game because Dad said don't ask you.
That's cute.
And I am doing Cash App.
Listen, mom, I got all this cash in my pocket and I'm at the amusement park and they only take cards. Can you Apple Pay me some money? I got all this cash.
Oh my God. See,
And
technology is a part of this blame. But we'll have to do a part 2 on this one because this is something that probably is very passionate to all of us because we got, grown adults and and they got children and we see a big difference then.
It's just,
yeah, we see
I think so. Difference with them grands is
oh yes,
they don't live with us.
I think about it. We had grandparents. So, I mean, I can tell you my grandma was my grandmother never gave me a spanking. My grandmother never told me no. And anything I wanted her to do, she would do. I remember in St. Malachy, we had something for Passover. My grandma came over there with the unleavened bread and carried it. And the people was like, oh, yeah, your grandma make that too. Because I just asked her to do it and she would do what I wanted to do.
But we didn't want to disappoint them either. I think that was the difference.
Oh, and the dog bit me.
Absolutely.
The dog bit me. My grandma walked me to school for 2 months straight because the dog bit me. And because my brothers and them all ran ahead and let the dog bite me. And I was scared every day because I thought the dog was going to come and get me, even though they had captured the dog. But, this was a good episode, y'all. So joining me tonight is
your girl Celeste. And remember, taking care of oneself is not selfish, it's necessary.
And this is Chauncey. Do all the good that you can in all the ways that you can for absolutely as long as you can.
This is your girl Keisha. And remember, if you want less stress, stay out of other people's mess.
Amen. Amen. And I'm your girl Kimmy, and join me next week and the latest of Let's Chit Chat Sis on Wednesday when we drop a new episode. Have a wonderful week on purpose, and we'll see you then. Take care.